So today we've come to a place which wouldn't be normally on anyone's tourist route. We've come to the cemetery in Calvia. It's where Anita's parents are buried, so we've come to pay our respects and to look for measurements for a memorial stone. It's a beautiful spot up on the hill over Calvia, and a final resting place. We'll all end up there one day. This is one of the homes for the elderly here in Calvia. We used to come here to visit our friend Joan, who was here for a while, and we used to take her out. This little park outside, we used to bring her out here and take her into the village for lunch. And we're just going to explore a little bit more of the village now. Everywhere you go in Mallorca, you think you know a place, but this is a little bit of Calvia that I've never actually walked around, so it looks as though in the springtime, the autumn time, this would be quite a nice place just to sit, find out a little bit of shade. And right next to it there's a children's park which is open. The rules seem to be different in different areas, so this one is open and children are in the park playing. It's January, it's 2021, and we're in the village of Calvia, which is the county town, if you like, where the town hall is. And we're just going to have a little wander through some of the streets here, which, as you can imagine, is very narrow. It's an old town. In front of us we have the church. I'll go and have a little walk up to the church. It's not a very big town. So just going that way, there's not much more to see. Down there, just up towards the church, down towards the town centre. They do have a market here at normal times. It's a Sunday, so I'm guessing the church is in operation with a limited congregation, and the bells have been ringing while we've been here. Let's get a little bit closer to the church. This is on the side, and again, time's gone by. This is one of the restaurants we've come to in the past. Called Restaurant Sant Joan. And here we have the main entrance to the church. And it's the Church of John the Baptist. If any of the former students are watching this video, they might remember this car park and the little park area with the little fountains further on. That's one of the posts for the sponsored walk. Some people actually started the sponsored walk here, going off towards Capdea. So this is where we used to have oranges and water waiting for the walkers. They would come and sit round the fountain as they were checked in on the sponsored walk. So this was our checkpoint, and then off they would go down to Capdea. One of the reasons I wanted to come here was to sit on this bench, and this bench was placed here in memory of a very close friend of mine, David Hammond, and it bears a plaque with his name. David and I joined the Freemasons at the same time, and we followed each other through the lodge, through the various positions within the lodge, until we each came the worshipful master of the lodge. So this plaque here is marking the fact that he was a Freemason and his memory. David's bench is just outside the music school here. Looks as though they're doing some work just outside. I've always been impressed by the tile work here. So for those of you who did the sponsored walk, that's where you would have had your oranges, and then you would have set off down these steps and made your way through the village of Calvia on your way to Capdea. Some lovely aromas. Unfortunately, you can't pick up the smell, but someone's cooking lunch.
There's the restaurant. Takeaway over there.
I'm just going to head down this road and just have a quick look at the town hall, the Ayuntamiento. Coming up to Kambic, which we'll turn down and go to the Ayuntamiento. The opposite end of Kambic, there used to be a tap on the wall. We used to come there to fill up our water when the the water became quite saline. So the building in front of us, directly in front, is the town hall, the Ayuntamiento. And Calvia at one time was one of the most wealthy Ayuntamientos, town halls, certainly in Spain and possibly in Europe, partly because of places like Palmanova, Magaluf, Santa Ponsa, Peguera, big tourist areas, which brought in lots of taxes to the Ayuntamiento. They also made a lot of money from property sales. So they managed to build this rather large and expensive looking town hall. I mentioned earlier on my friend David Hammond. I would actually come up here quite often, spend many hours with him in his office here, which was Golden Chain. The office is still there, and we would be up on the top floor passing the time of day, putting the world to rights. And there's the church we've just come down from. So you're going to walk down now to the main road. The road at the bottom here goes down to Palmanova, and we'll be driving down there later on. But we'll be turning right and just going up to the top of the road. You can see it is not a very big village, there's not a great deal to see here. But there is something just around the corner I would like to point out to you. So here we are now, just going to walk up. It's like a crossroads at the top. And in years gone by, Anita in particular and our children and the school children were involved with the Bay Entertainers. The Bay Entertainers used to put on pantomimes and various shows, and they always used to put their shows on in Palma at the Sala Mozart in the auditorium. And for some reason, I don't know why, they could no longer put their shows on there, and so they came up to Calvia, and just at the top of this road there's a theatre. Just coming up now near to the crossroads. Right on this crossroads we have Sa Societat, which is the theatre. So the Bay Entertainers started to do their shows here with Graham and Martin, who acted as the director and producer, and Andrea, who did the wonderful choreography. And Anita used to bring the children to sing and perform in some of the music. And right next to the theatre, actually part of the theatre, is the theatre's bar. Bars are now closed. You can't go into bars and restaurants anymore due to the pandemic. They do offer, many of them, takeaway services. But we spent many hours in this bar waiting for rehearsals to finish, or between shows, between acts in the show. So lots of fond memories here in Calvia at the Theatre Sa Societat. We're just going to head up, go back to the car. You can see there are one or two shops. Not very many shops in Calvia. And because it's a Sunday, there's not very many of them open anyway. The supermarket is open. I did mention earlier on the tap in the wall. This is Kambic, and we used to come up. We used to live in Portales now, and we used to come up here and fill our water bottles up, and it looks as though it's still there, and I think it's still working. Good enough to drink.
With your mask on.
Shh! Don't tell them that. When we drove into Calvia, we noticed we had to turn off here. This part has been pedestrianised. You used to be able to drive up and down here, so this is something that has happened since we last came up here, or at least this time I last came up here. It's been a long time. Another place we're coming up to on the left is Cantorat. It's one of the places we used to bring Joan, who I mentioned earlier on. You could have a meal there next to the bank, and just further up, Rositas, a very famous bar here in Calvia. There's bar Rosita. So just as you have your bearings, there's the church, the music school. This is now a square. Estrinchet, another cafe bar we used to come to have a beer, a coffee. Used to bring Joan to. And people are still having their takeaways. And he's just reminding me that here's another bar we used to come to and sit outside here with Joan. Good memories. That concludes our little tour of Calvia, a little village in Mallorca, the southwest of Mallorca. I hope you've enjoyed it. If you have, and please share the video with your friends and hit the subscribe button, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye for now.